Today's shakedown has to be about the 2012 Monaco F1 versus the Indianapolis 500. There's so much to digest, dissect, and discuss, both for me and really for you. So get ready to comment on all I'm about to throw down. Simply stated, I want to know which race was better for you and why. And what do you think about Schumacher and Sato? Both guys got really aggressive, both with not great outcomes to their moves. And what do you make of the winners, Webber in F1 and Franchitti in Indy, and their teams, Red Bull and Ganassi? You know I got opinions. I'll try to base mine on facts. I ask you to do the same. And none of this oval racing is boring and easy and they just turn left BS. And no American xenophobic nationalistic crap on F1 or IndyCar either. I've already read such BS about Sato on IndyCar forums, and you shakedown viewers, I know you're a billion times better than that. We know there was other racing this weekend, WRC in Greece, but Loeb won again. World Superbikes in the US, Checa and Ducati taking race 1, Melandri and BMW winning race 2. Global Rallycross in Charlotte before the Saturday night NASCAR crowd, with Marcus Gronholm defeating reigning series champ Tanner Faust. And Casey Kane winning another NASCAR race for the Hendrick monarchy. Yeah, whatever. It's time to focus on the main events of the weekend, Indy and F1. And I'm going to steal a soundbite from our Long Beach GP interview with Takuma Sato, because it defines everything we'll discuss on this show.
The driver always has to commit all the time, so that's the way you drive.
Commitment all the time. Honestly, that's what made this weekend's racing so great. That's the lesson I'd like you to take away from this weekend's action. If you race, real or sim, and no, I'm not going to do a SimRaceway plug right here. Damn it, I just did. It's commitment in everything you do that'll make the difference. If you want to win, or at least have the satisfaction that you tried 100%. You got Takuma Sato big respect, and a bigger name for himself leaving the Indy 500, even though he left without the Borg Warner trophy. But let's start with F1 in Monaco. There were only 9 passes in the entire race throughout the entire grid. Remember that number when we talk Indy 500. But the top 6 finishers finished nose to tail. Pirelli tires were not a race excitement interruptus. In fact, the competitiveness of the racing probably had a lot to do with the soft Pirelli tires. The race start was high energy, as it always is, pumped up by the fact that the true pole winner was Michael Schumacher. But he was starting 6th, serving his 5-position penalty for banging Senna in Barcelona last race. His aggressiveness collided with Roman Grosjean's own ambitions, and it all went wrong from there. Check out these images. Schumacher tried to make something happen. You can't fault his commitment for trying to translate pole-winning speed at a place he loves to race into a podium or a win that he could taste. Were you okay with Schumacher's opening move? The lead possession got through the Grosjean mess, and the race, while processional, was intense with pressure right to the finish, with Mark Webber P1, then Nico, Alonso, Vettel, Hamilton, Massa at the flag. Yay, Massa. And of course, we got the 6th different winner in 6 races. And Alonso adding to the F1 marketing story with Ferrari back in the fight. And he's leading the Drivers' Championship, he versus the Red Bulls. In the manufacturers' fight, all is back to normal, with Red Bull up front, up on McLaren by 38 points, up on Ferrari 60 total points behind. And normal in that we have the Red Bull is cheating controversy based on holes in the car floor, another controversy. The difference this year in the RB7 versus the Sauber design shown here is that the Sauber has an open edge. The fight is about when is a hole not a hole and when is a crack a hole, and no, I'm not doing sex jokes. Jesus. But what I really took away from the Monaco GP and what made it riveting to watch, even though there was almost no passing, was watching the cars work the track. Why? Last show I previewed Monaco saying the racers only use 43% full throttle. Translation? F1 cars have way more horsepower than they need for this track. So watching the drivers actually horse these cars around Monaco, balancing throttle, grip, and traction was awesome. The lesson? Give every race car twice the horsepower it needs. The pros will handle it, and the excitement will be magnified. NASCAR drivers have been saying that for years about the restrictor plate tracks they drive, like Daytona and Talladega. And Indy and Le Mans could benefit from mega horsepower as well. Both SimRaceway sponsored pros, Dario Franchitti and Alan McNish, have hinted at that. So what do you think? More horsepower for more excitement? And trust the racers to handle it safely? Time for the Indy 500 analysis. And let's cut right to the heart of the race, Sato versus Dario. I can't show you the video of the action, the YouTube rights thing, you know. But let's walk through what happened at race end and share what we saw and what real racers were thinking and saying versus some of the candy-ass comments I've read by alleged fans, media, and the ABC TV announcers. First, the scenario. The race was winding down, and it was coming down to the target cars and Takuma Sato in the Rahal car. Dario and Dixon had emerged as the favorites, but Sato, with a low-drag setup, was getting great fuel mileage from his Honda, and with Rahal team calling great strategy, they were in it to win it. Side note, Bobby Rahal's team is Indy 500 genius, all that Ganassi and Penske stuff considered. You can debate the driver talent of the following with me all you want, but this team has taken the likes of Vito Mira, Buddy Rice, Danica Patrick, and now Sato, and gotten top 5 and better performances out of all of them. Wow. Back to the 2012 race and the last lap pass attempt. Setting up for the questions for you. Was Sato right to try? Was Sato good at how he tried? Was he impatient, as some are saying? Was Dario a dick? My answers? Yes, yes, no, no. I'll explain in a minute. But first, let's explain all the passing in the race. A record 34 for the lead. It was a function of the new car and the hole was blowing in the air. The racers were trading the lead back and forth because you had to. Indy is still pretty much a no-lift track, and the Dallara DW12 forces you to slingshot past, not sit behind and draft. So P2 was emerging as the place to be to get P1 at race end. But where that would happen was another issue affected by the air, the wind really, and how it was moving in turn 3 at the end of the back straight was making for fewer successful passes back there. With the horsepower the new 2.2-liter turbos were kicking out, the passes were mostly happening at the end of the straights. And with the wind, the front straight into turn 1 was becoming the better place. And last time I checked, the finish line is mid-straight. And the whole rant about the best passing place was the second factor in how the race was about to end. Let's get to the closing laps. When Dario went for the lead passing Dixon, Sato dropped right in behind, stuck himself into turn 1 late versus Dixon, and made the pass with 2 laps to go. And you know on the last lap, Sato thought, hey, I did it once, I can do it again. So heading to the white flag, Sato got a big run off 4. Dario sees this and goes track center. His commitment is to win and stay in the lead because he knows turn 1 is the key for him too. He's working the track and Sato by the rules. Sato's commitment is to go and win the goddamn race, or whatever you say in Japanese in that moment. And Sato thinks turn 1 is the place too. Not turn 3 because of the wind, not turn 4 because of what he's seen and felt all race long with passing and his car's performance. Remember, the Ganassi cars were the fastest cars on the track, so it was taking the whole straight to get by them. Again, too late for the finish line. Now, there are comments about Dario racing dirty and chopping Sato, and I say no. He raced him hard, he took him low, very low. But here's a shot that suggests Dario did leave room. And he's going for the win for the Indy 500. You don't race tough here, you don't have a job next year. Now, I've included a link to the video of the last laps for you to watch the cars yourself. 3 things you'll notice. 1, both racers drove trying to get both cars through the corner. They were respecting each other. Number 2, Dario actually opened up his line mid-corner, and that helped him not get taken out by Sato's spin. And number 3, Sato drove like a professional/gentleman and did not open up his steering and bump his car off Dario's so he could save himself, make the corner, win the race, but put Dario out. Think Fittipaldi versus Unser, the 1989 Indy 500. This is not a great pick, but what you see is a wheel poking out of the edge. That's Fittipaldi sliding sideways. What stopped him from spinning was him hitting Al Unser Jr. Sato did not do that, so Sato did spin, and that's where it all went bad. But it went really good for Dario, and for the memory of Dan Weldon. And these 3 guys, Dario, Dixon, and Kanaan, Dan Weldon's best friends, who were committed to honoring him with a win, one of them winning. Dario even begged Susie Weldon to ride the victory lap with him. And what I feared would be a complete race-long Dead Weldon soap opera by the TV and IndyCar people turned into a hyper-respectful, super intense tribute to Dan Weldon because the racers handled the business the right way. Besides the commitment of Dario, Sato, Rahal, and Ganassi, what else did we learn from the Indy 500? Well, I don't want to be the Chevy racing manager in 2012. Chevy put their U.S. racing stock in NASCAR. They lost the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl of NASCAR, to Ford. Then they focused their road racing attention on the Corvette body for the Grand Am Daytona prototype class They lost the 24 Hours at Daytona, the marquee race, to Ford again. Now Indy, losing to Honda. Oops. The real Corvette racing is getting ready for Le Mans. Focus, Chevy. At Indy, after dominating qualifying, Chevy talked big about their horsepower and great fuel mileage. Honda simply went back to work and showed up with a revised race engine with a bit more horsepower and classic Honda fuel economy. But come race day, Ganassi's Hondas were really fast. All the Hondas were getting great gas mileage, and for good chunks of the race, the top 6 cars were Honda power. So competition improves the breed, but did it change your opinion of Honda that they engineered a winner versus Chevy? And wouldn't you like to be the Honda marketing manager right about now, in that Honda race engines made horsepower and better fuel economy than a Chevy? By the way, before Indy, Chevy protested Honda's turbo upgrade, and they lost the protest. Maybe before the next 500, to fix the Chevy gas mileage problem, they'll lobby IndyCar to adopt Volt technology. That was a bad joke. So IndyCar put on a good show at Indy. The cars are still ugly to me, but seemed okay on TV at the Brickyard. Next year we get new body kits to clean up the looks a little bit, and another year of race car development to fix the remaining performance issues. The 2012 500 gave us a lot of action, but the 34 passes were as much managed slingshots as anything. The cars still flew, despite the fenders and bumpers built to make them not. Dario Franchitti earned the win, coming from mid-pack qualifying, P16, and all the way from the back, P30, via a pit lane spin that E.J. Vizo gave him early in the race. And Takuma Sato raised his stock and identity to the racing world. So was Indy, the Indy 500, good for you? Did you like the action and drama better than F1 or not? And when you give us your answer, give us a bit of why. I'm going to tell you I like both. Monaco was less artificial racing with no real DRS or tire influence, and I loved watching the cars work. Indy cars and the Indy 500 was drama, and all the characters made the storyline pop. I screamed at the TV. I must have liked it. We have an interview with Dario Franchitti coming up for Friday's show, and I hope we get some great insight into the action, his techniques, and the thinking that went into making the 2012 Indy 500 happen the way it did. Either way, I'm sure we'll have something to discuss. Thanks for watching.